Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to trace the absolutely incredible journey of television. I mean, think about it. From a flickering mechanical dream to this entire universe of content that literally lives on our screens. This is the story of how we taught light to travel, and in doing so, completely changed the world.
And you know, it all starts with the name itself, television. It's this perfect mix of Greek and Latin that literally just means seeing from far away. And that one simple ambition, to see across any distance, that's what drove more than a century of invention. It totally reshaped our world.
So long before a single electron was ever fired at a screen, the very first attempts at television were these brilliant, kind of crazy mechanical contraptions. Seriously, they looked more like intricate clockwork than any kind of modern electronics. And they were all designed to solve one massive puzzle. How do you capture and then reassemble light?
Now, this wasn't some single aha moment. It was a whole series of breakthroughs, and they all centered on this one really clever idea from way back in 1884, the Nipkow disc. Okay, picture this. A spinning disc with a spiral of holes that scans an image, one line at a time. It was the Scottish inventor John Logie Baird who really brought that idea to life, going from just fuzzy silhouettes in 1925 to a recognizable human face just 1 year later. And get this, by 1928, he was even sending signals all the way across the Atlantic.
So who, or maybe I should say what, was the very first television star? A ventriloquist dummy named Stooky Bill. Yeah, really. See, those early systems, they really struggled with the subtle shades of a human face. So Baird used this dummy because its high-contrast painted features were just perfect for the fuzzy 30-line resolution they were working with back then.
But here's the thing. Mechanical TV had kind of hit a wall. I mean, you simply can't spin a physical disc fast enough to create a clear, detailed picture. The future needed a totally new approach, one that would trade those spinning wheels for speeding electrons. And that, right there, paved the way for a revolutionary leap.
Okay, so the crucial shift, the real game changer, was moving from physically moving parts to harnessing the power of electrons. Instead of a clunky spinning disk, you could have a beam of electrons painting a picture on a phosphor screen thousands of times faster. This was the Big Bang moment for TV, the thing that finally made it possible to become a true mass medium.
This whole revolution was driven by several key figures. You have these pioneers like Philo Farnsworth over in the US and Vladimir Zworykin at RCA. They were the ones who figured out how to use the cathode ray tube, which is basically an electron gun, to both capture and display an image electronically. All their work led directly to the BBC launching the world's first regular high-definition service in 1936. That was the real ancestor of all broadcast TV.
So, with electronic television finally established, the world suddenly had this magic window in a box. But it was a black and white world. The next great challenge was pretty obvious, right? How do you bring the full, vibrant spectrum of life onto that screen?
All right, so this next phase of TV's evolution, it was about way more than just pictures. It was about color, and it was about choice. It took us from just a few black and white channels to this incredible rainbow of options, all delivered in ways the early pioneers could never have even imagined.
You know, the biggest challenge wasn't just inventing color TV. It was figuring out how to introduce it without making millions of existing black and white sets totally obsolete overnight. The solution they came up with was, well, genius. The new color standard sent the regular black and white picture, but it cleverly tucked all the color information into that same signal. So old TVs just ignored it, while the new color sets could decode it. Problem solved. And it wasn't just color that was expanding. It was the very way the signal got to our homes. We went from local broadcast antennas to cable, which gave us way more channels and a clearer picture. Then came satellite, which could reach almost anywhere on the planet. And finally, of course, the internet, which gave us the ultimate choice, on-demand access to pretty much everything.
And the result of all this innovation? By 2013, a staggering 79% of all households in the world owned a television. Think about that. It wasn't just a piece of tech anymore. It was this shared window on the world, and it shaped everything from politics to pop culture.
And that brings us right up to the most recent and, honestly, the most dramatic transformation in TV history. This is the shift from a schedule that you had to watch to an entire library that you can command whenever you want.
The move to digital and the explosion of the internet, it didn't just improve the picture quality. It fundamentally changed our relationship with television. We went from this passive model where content was pushed at us on a fixed schedule to a super active one where we pull exactly what we want to watch
whenever we want to watch it. It flipped everything on its head.
Just think about this jump for a second. In the 70s, you might have had, 10, maybe a dozen channels if you were lucky. By the 90s, cable gave you a few hundred. Today, streaming services give you instant access to thousands upon thousands of shows and movies. We've gone from an era of content scarcity to one of just overwhelming abundance.
And of course, the hardware had to evolve too. The box in your living room isn't just a simple receiver anymore. It's a powerful computer with its own operating system and a direct line to the internet. The smart TV is the device that finally, officially, merged the worlds of television and computing into one.
So where does this story go from here? Well, the truth is, the line between what we call television and what we call the internet has pretty much disappeared, and this whole evolution is just getting faster. We're looking at a future where our screens just keep getting better and better, with technologies like OLED creating these perfect blacks and unbelievably vibrant colors. But even more important, the content itself is changing. The boundaries between shows and movies and video games and social media, they're all blurring into one single interactive experience that's tailored just for you.
So, from a spinning disc capturing a dummy's face to an interactive portal that can show us anything from anywhere in the world, the technology has changed beyond all recognition. But that fundamental human desire it serves, that simple, powerful idea of seeing at a distance, that stayed exactly the same. Which leaves us with just one question: what do we want to see next?